Hey, 12s. I'm Anderson Hurst. I'm going to tell you why DeMarcus Lawrence is the difference between the Seahawks defense being really good and maybe has some holes.
Not too bad, Anders. It's your boy, Robert Turbin, a.k.a. Turbo, Super Bowl champion. What was it? 36, 37, 38? Too much time has passed. I don't even remember, for crying out loud. But guess what? The Seahawks might be on their way to another one.
And I'm Corbin Smith. Byron Murphy II is going to be a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year at the end of this year.
Hey, 12, it's the Seahawks squad. Everything Seattle Seahawks every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Emerald City. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get loud, 12s. The Seahawks Squad Show starts now.
What up, 12s? Anderson Hurst, Turbo, and Corbin Smith with you today on your Seahawks Squad Show. Man, coming in with the hot takes right off the top of the show. I love it. Love hearing that from Turbo. Love hearing that from Corbin. We're going to chat a little bit about the defensive adjustments that were made from week 5 to week 6 by Mike Macdonald. We're going to talk a little bit about Sam Darnold's possible MVP status. And we're not talking about his miles on Alaska Airlines. We're talking about his possible inside the conversation of the NFL MVP. We're going to talk about where the Seahawks rank in the NFC's hierarchy. It's a crowded kind of contender booth, so to speak. Where do the Seahawks land in that? And then we'll look ahead a little bit to the Houston Texans on Monday Night Football. But first, let's look back on first, I have to tell you, actually, before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, they get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. All right, let's look back on that game just really quick on this early part of the show today against Jacksonville. I think, me personally, we're going to look back on that win. It kind of seems like a mundane, we're supposed to get that win. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I think later on in the season, we're going to look back on that win as one of the bigger wins of the season for the Seahawks, bigger than a lot of people might think that it was at that point in the season. So the defense just looked night and day better than against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. And you still had a lot of guys out. You had one guy in particular that really wasn't, and he made himself made his presence felt, and that's DeMarcus Lawrence. Corbin Smith, how much of the difference that we saw in result defensively against the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the week prior was DeMarcus Lawrence coming back? How much of it was the opponent that they were facing? Maybe Trevor Lawrence isn't up to par to a Baker Mayfield. And how much of it was the adjustments that Mike Macdonald made with his scheme? What kind of pie do you divvy up for those three factors there?
I'm going to go 50, 25, 25, 50% DeMarcus Lawrence. Okay. Look, this is a different defense when he's setting the edge. Tampa Bay had success running the football, especially in the red zone the week before, off edge. You try to run at DeMarcus Lawrence, bad things are going to happen for your offense. We saw that with the 7-yard stop that he had in a little swing pass that was out to Travis Etienne. He had 7 pressures, 5 quarterback hits. He was killing it on the tackle end exchanges, the stunts. Jacksonville just couldn't keep him out of the backfield. He was just constantly living back there, decking Trevor Lawrence and hitting the running backs in the backfield. And it felt like the entire rest of the defensive line feasted off that. They gained off that energy. So I think that you got to give that the bigger piece of the pie. Look, Trevor Lawrence, though, he's not Baker Mayfield. I am actually at the point here, I don't think this is a hot take. I think Trevor Lawrence, I don't consider him a bust. I just don't think that the ceiling is there. I do not think that the Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold type resurgence is going to ever be there with him. I don't see quite the same physical tools from him. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. Is he a 50+ million per year QB? Heck no. I wouldn't have paid that kind of money for him. I think that Liam Cohen's gotten more out of him this year than what the previous coaching staffs did. I just don't know how much more he's going to be able to elevate him. I think Baker Mayfield has more moxie. I think he's got more physical tools, to be honest with you. So I think you have to consider that. And the fact the Jags dropped like 18 passes in this game didn't help him. But I just think Jacksonville, I think they're a good team. I think that we talked about last week, though, I believe on this show, we talked about that. I still felt like the offense, there were some ways you could get after them. And I thought Seattle's pass rush, 17 quarterback hits, you're not going to lose many games when you hit the opposing quarterback that many times. So I think Mike McDonald deserves credit for the scheming on that front. They were able to fix things in the secondary for the most part in the second half, not as many communication breakdowns. The one they had, Josh Jobs should have made a play in the football and just mistimed his jump. So I thought overall it was just a better game plan. Guys looked better prepared, and it did help that I don't think you were facing an offense that had the potency that Tampa Bay brings to the equation.
What about you, Turbo? How much of that do you attribute to the return of DeMarcus Lawrence versus those other factors?
Well, I think 50-25-25 is a pretty good balancing act there. The thing that DeMarcus Lawrence that I think I guess is missing is that his impact opens up things for everybody else. So, he makes his impact also. He puts his imprint on the game, being disruptive within the run game and making it harder for teams to be able to run the football on him. But also what he does is he plays a big factor in terms of not necessarily a decoy, but, Byron Murphy and these other guys who are getting in the backfield and making plays. That's in large part because of the impact that DeMarcus Lawrence is making, his presence on the field. And so, I thought having him back was huge, but I do agree with Corbin. At the end of the day, the Jaguars, they're a growing football team, and Trevor Lawrence has been much better, I think, this season than he has been in the last couple. Liam Cohen is probably getting the most out of him. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a better unit offensively, and they're going to be hard to defend. We talked about it after that Buccaneers game. They get off on everybody. You know what I'm saying? So they're a tough team to defend offensively, so you got to give some credit there. But you like DeMarcus Lawrence coming back. You like the scheme Mike McDonald put together, the game plan against the Jaguars, and they were able to execute and get the dub.
Yeah, I just think, and Corbin, I totally agree with you with the Trevor Lawrence thing. And it's weird because the physical tools is what everyone loved about him coming out of college. And
I just don't see it right now, though.
I know. It's one of those where it's like, he has some mobility, and he has an okay arm, but his processing ability, and I'm no quarterback guru. I'm not going to be the guy that looks at every single piece of film and is able to draw conclusions as quick as a lot of other smarter people than I will. But it just seems to me that he sees things so much later. And maybe it is the stark contrast between a very well executed, he gets through his reads a lot quicker in Baker Mayfield. When you see that, and then the next week you see a Trevor Lawrence, it's like, whoa, that's a huge difference to me. And it's one of those things where a lot of the times it makes a difference in the game. And I do agree, like a lot of the times the receivers are dropping his balls. So we got to remember that. But I just think that, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, as weird as it is to say, who would have said this 2-3 years ago, are just that much far and clear of someone like Trevor Lawrence. So it makes a big difference. But I think for me, what's up?
I said, are we sure about that?
But they're both ahead of Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I mean, I listen. Come on now. Sam is good now. Don't get me wrong, but we got a sample size right now.
Yeah.
Let's not jump the gun. Like, at least Baker been doing it. He was doing it in Cleveland.
Yeah, but Sam did it all last year too. I am comfortable saying that this is who Sam Darnold is now. This is not a flash in the pan.
I'd have to agree with that because listen, I was one of the analysts out there that had some skepticism about, and listen, I still believe this. I think Geno Smith and this offense would have been really good. I still believe that. But if you look at who he's throwing to with the Raiders and that O-line makes the Seahawks O-line the last 3 years look good. Like, that line cannot protect. They can't open up things for Ashton Genty. That's a whole other discussion, though.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold has eclipsed all expectations for me throughout these 6 games. And he very much is an MVP candidate. And listen, I'm just going to rattle off a bunch of numbers here, guys, that I've got. Sam Darnold right now is 3rd in passing yards. He's 5th in completion rate, 1st in yards per attempt by almost a full yard, 9.6. He's 5th in touchdowns. He's 2nd in passer rating, 4th in big-time throws, and he's 1st. This is the most important one to me. He is 1st in turnover-worthy play rate, 1.1% through 6 weeks. He isn't putting the ball in harm's way, and 2 of the picks that he's thrown, I don't think were his fault. One of them bounced off a dude's helmet, and the other one, he just happened to have a perfect blitz coming against him, and he was just trying to get the ball off. It gets tipped up in the air. Like, sometimes you have crazy crap happen when you play the quarterback position. He has done such a marvelous job of avoiding those turnovers. This team had 14 turnovers in 5 games. Jacksonville did. They didn't. The only close call they had was like 3 deflections into a defensive tackle's hand, which that was not a bad decision. It was a good throw, a better play by the defender getting a piece of it. But like, he is in the top 5 of all those categories. No, by the way, he on the 20+ yard air throws, he's 1st or 2nd in pretty much every meaningful category. So he isn't dinking and dunking. Like, the dude is just dropping dimes. That 61-yard touchdown to JSN, you couldn't have thrown that better. Like, it literally landed right in the receiver's breadbasket and he just kind of flicked his wrist. Like, those are the kind of throws that you don't see Trevor Lawrence making. Like, you don't see that arm talent. Like, Darnold even had flashes of it in New York, but he wasn't confident. He wasn't comfortable in that offense, and he wasn't comfortable facing pressure. Now he's like, whoop-de-doo, I see ghosts, but I'm one of the new Ghostbusters. Like, you might as well get him a uniform to put over a Seahawks thing. Like, he does not look phased at all. Like, I'm stunned saying this, but like, if he's not on your short list for MVP right now, you don't deserve to have a vote for that. Like, he's there with Baker Mayfield. And honestly, I think those two have been the best 2 quarterbacks in the NFL this year. And we saw it in that 38-35 track meet 2 weeks ago. Yeah. That's, to me, the film and the stats both back it up.
Yeah. And of course, Patrick Mahomes taking another step back up this year in terms of his output. And then Josh Allen's going to always be there as well. I think it's those 4, to be honest, at this point. It's just going to be a quarterback because that's just the way the NFL works. But Corbin, you rattled off those stats. If there was a time machine, if you were to travel from this point back to before the season and say, this is what Sam Darnold's going to do, I would have said, okay, but how much of that is his elite running game that he has with him right now? That's not the case. There is that has been one of the struggles of this Seahawks offense. So imagine how much better it could look with a competent running game.
Anders, I want to ask Turbo's opinion of this.
Yeah.
Taking a little bit of a tangent here with my running back background, him being a former NFL back. How much are you being drove nuts watching the short side toss plays to Zach Charbonnet 6 times a game? That is, it is making my head explode. Like, I feel bad for Zach Charbonnet. That's been the one thing that with Clint Kubiak is driving me. It's driving me bonkers. Yeah. I don't get it. Like, and it's not the blocker's fault either. Like, Charles Cross knocked a dude on his butt on one of those plays, but there were 3 guys in the backfield because you're running to the short side and it's obvious what you're running. Like, they can block it well, and you're still not going to get. It's blowing my brain apart. I'm struggling.
Turbo, I see your face, and I really cannot wait for this response.
No, you just have to be strategic in running a toss play to the short side, because at the end of the day, there's no room, there's no space for us to get loose, and so really, it's one of those, like a toss play to the short side. You can usually catch a defense off guard in like a 3rd and short or in the red zone area or something like that. You can really probably, get something going. That's probably a better situation, but 6 times in a game, that's just ridiculous.
I literally, like, most of the time when I'm watching all 22, it's just like, okay, I'm just watching film, but like, I'm counting those yesterday and I'm just like, I thought it was bad, but I didn't realize sometimes it's worse than you think. And I'm just like, Clint, what are you doing? Like, and I feel bad for Charbonnet because the times he was running between the tackles, he averaged almost 4 yards per carry, but they were tossing with him. And there were a couple times they gave it to Ken Walker to the long side of the field. And he got good gains, but it was just like, I'm with you. Change of pace once in a blue moon in a short yardage situation. You might be able to get away with that, but like 1st and 10 or 2nd and 9, like, Jacksonville was just swarming to him, and there was no one like. There's fans like, I'm tired of Charbonnet. It's like, okay, you could have put Barry Sanders in on a couple of those plays. Yeah. He is not getting anything. As a guy that has coordinated an offense before, I'm not saying I'm in the same zip code as Clint Kubiak, but like I do not understand that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Corb. Where I'm not with you, I don't know. Okay, I guess I can't be an MVP voter because I ain't ready for that with Sam Darnold yet.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So let me interject. What do you need to see from him for that to be the case?
More, just more. And I'm not a numbers guy either. I'm not a stats guy. I'm an impact guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, for me, it's like, okay, I look at Sam Darnold, I look at the season, and you got all the stats. That's cool. But the two best teams that he played, he lost. So, you know, and obviously it's a team game, but you got to find a way to beat the 49ers. You got to find a way to beat Baker Mayfield, another guy who's in the MVP conversation, not Trevor Lawrence. You know, so not to say that it's not a good win. I'm not saying that he's, not, I guess, like, right there as far as the conversation is concerned. But got to see more. There's more on the schedule. Let's see what happens when he goes up against Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens when he goes up against the other top tier quarterbacks that have been doing it for a minute, not just a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then see if he enters that MVP conversation. That's just me. You know, I'm an impact guy. How are you changing the game? You know, out there when it's, when the game is on the line, So we got some good wins on the docket. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not trying to hate. I'm not trying to sound like a hater. It's just that I'm not a numbers guy. I don't care about you running for 1,200 yards. How did you get those 1,200? What was the impact of the game? You know what I'm saying? How did you really make things move? And who were you going up against? Were they the top defenses in the league, et cetera? And so to me, when you look at, the wins that we have so far, they're good wins. Absolutely. But, we had our opportunity against a division rival, came up short. And you had an opportunity against another guy in the MVP conversation. Fact of the matter is, came up short. He made one more play than you did. So to me, it's just like, not yet.
Yeah,
I gotta see more games.
Hey, look, it's week 7. Like, I think you could make that argument for all the guys that are on the short list, but I'm basing it off, if I had to pick one right now, I absolutely think he deserves to be in that. And I think Baker Mayfield, I'd probably vote Mayfield, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's got a 5-1 team. I think he's thrown 2 picks now. Like, he's been.
If the Seahawks had won that game, are you picking Sam Darnold?
But Sam Darnold's got better numbers on a lot of almost all the major metrics. He has been better for the entire season. And he's also I think the Seahawks O-line's playing fairly decent, but he's had much quicker pressure on him than Baker Mayfield has had this year. Like, there are some things that you're looking at, and Mayfield's been good with the downfield throws, but Darnold has just been lights out on those deep balls, and he's made some that were heavily covered. I think you can make arguments for both of them, and that's what makes this such a fun thing. Like, these two guys were in Carolina and couldn't make it work. We talked about it a few weeks ago. It didn't work out. Now both these guys, you could make an argument for MVP. Like, the Panthers have to be sitting there like, what the hell what did we do? It's amazing.
Yeah, and I just to kind of marry your guys' both thoughts, the reason we're having this discussion is because it's a fun thing to think about that the Seahawks have someone who's in that conversation right now. But yeah, Turbo's right. You need to do it for the whole season to win the MVP. Yep. But we can only react to what's happened at this point. And I think context also matters, right? In the loss that you're talking about against Baker Mayfield, he scored 35 points. That's not much.
He had twice as many touchdown passes that game.
And if you're talking impact, I don't think there's very few guys that you could put in Sam Darnold's situation and that get the same results or better than what Sam Darnold is doing right now in the Seahawks offense. He is straight up carrying them with a very good JSN, but I think a lot of that has to do with who's throwing to him as well. An improved offensive line and a running game that hasn't really been there, that hasn't really carried the offense like we expected it to be. I'm not saying it hasn't been
it's been
very feast or famine.
Yes.
I think that's the best way to put it.
Is Dak Prescott an MVP candidate then to you guys?
No, because he hasn't elevated Dallas. There's been times, I mean, I think he's had worse to work with,
I
obviously.
thought we was talking about the numbers.
Sam Darnold's better numbers in almost every category.
Yeah, and hasn't turned the ball over near as much. I think Dak's having a good year, but I think you have to look at the entire scope. And I've watched a couple of Cowboys games, and he's done some insane things on a team where he's, they have no defense. Defense is optional. He traded your best player because you guys are idiots. But I can't help it. When Jerry Jones was with a straight face saying basically we have a chance to win this trade, I'm like, Jerry, you need to retire, dude. Sell the team. What are you doing?
Oh, I love that.
Sorry, I can't help myself.
Oh, we're going off on tangents and tangents here on the Seahawks Squad Show. I love it, though. This is what it's all about. We're just a couple of ball knowers and myself talking some football, whatever comes to mind. When we come back, I want to talk to you guys about where the Seahawks rank, and we've kind of gone into that category a little bit here. Where the Seahawks rank in the NFC's hierarchy here, right? I think we did that a little before the season started. I want to kind of reevaluate where they are at this point because San Francisco, while they have a good record, they are dropping like freaking flies over there. I don't know if they're going to be able to sustain what they do. Their best player, or one of their best players, is out for the rest of the year. I think Tampa Bay is going to be there, but you just went toe-to-toe with them, incredibly shorthanded. And I think Mike McDonald, if he got a second crack at them, would be licking his chops to make those adjustments that he made. And especially having DeMarcus Lawrence back and healthy now. I just think there's not a lot of teams that you could say are definitively better than the Seahawks team. I want to know if you guys agree with me. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break here on the Seahawks Squad Show. We'll be right back. Nobody likes paying rent, but if you must, you might as well get something for it. That's where BILT comes in. BILT is changing the game by turning your rent payment into real rewards you can actually use. When you pay rent through BILT, you can earn flexible points that can be redeemed toward hundreds of hotels and airlines and future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and more. But BILT isn't just about rent. It's about rewarding you around your entire neighborhood. I actually use BILT with my current living situation right now, and it's awesome. You can every time you pay your rent on time, you get points that you can redeem in other parts. Whether it's just a coupon here, it's like it said earlier, you can get points and like a discount from your next rent payment just by doing what you would be doing anyways. It's made everyday life feel more rewarding, from your neighborhood to your travel plans. Turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbilt.com/lockedonnfl. That's joinbilt.com/lockedonnfl. Make sure to use that link so that they know that we sent you. Welcome back to Seahawks Squad Show. Anderson Hurst, Turbo, and Corbin Smith with me today. We're talking some ball. We're talking some Sam Darnold, MVP, no MVP. This is what makes it so much fun. I'm glad we even are having this conversation at this point, boys. But let's talk a little bit about the team as a whole. Where do the Seahawks rank in terms of the hierarchy of the NFC? Do you think they're right up there with the Green Bay Packers, with the Detroit Lions, whoever you want to rank, LA Rams, Tampa Bay? Where do you think the Seahawks kind of fall into this hierarchy? Or do they have a chance to make a run to the NFC Championship game, or do you think they're still maybe that one step behind? Corbin, I'm curious what you think.
I think Seattle played the class of the NFC 2 weeks ago, at least where things stand right now. Tampa Bay is a darn good football team. I mean, they've got weapons. Oh, by the way, Mike Evans will be back in the next week or two for them too. That is a team that is extremely difficult to slow down. Their run game's going to get reinforcements coming back. There's a chance they could get 2 starting offensive linemen back by the end of the year. I mean, they have a chance to get healthier when the season gets rolling here. I think Todd Bowles has got a really fun defense, and obviously Seattle scored a lot of points, but they were missing their top 2 corners in that game. And those guys didn't have long-term injuries. I think Tampa Bay is the class right now. Philadelphia, I'm still not I'm not going to write them off because they're defending champs, but like they do not look right. They really don't. And they're having all kinds of trouble stopping the run. They're not running the football effectively. The O-line doesn't look near as good. And if they aren't tush pushing their way into the end zone, they're having a hard time finishing drives right now. Do I think they could turn it around? Sure, but they've got some things going on with A.J. Brown, some of the guys in the social posts. Like, it feels like there's some things going on in the city of brotherly love that aren't so brotherly. So I don't know that I can put Philadelphia up there. Detroit didn't look great this weekend, but Detroit is still a team I think can beat anybody any given Sunday. To me, those three teams, I think Seattle deserves to be in that discussion because of let's face it. Tampa Bay lost to Philadelphia, but that game was a tough one, but they've beaten everybody else. Seattle had them on the cusp with a bunch of guys out. I think Seattle deserves to be in that mix. If Sam Darnold keeps playing anywhere close to what he's doing right now, I still have confidence they're going to get this run game figured out. If they stop running short side pitch plays with Zach Charbonnet, they will get that figured out. But I think that this team absolutely deserves to be there. They're going to get Witherspoon back. They're going to get Julian Love back, maybe as soon as Monday night. I think they're going to make a trade here in the next week or two to add to that defense. I think this is the team that very much deserves to be in that mix. I trust the Seahawks more than the Packers at this point. I've watched Green Bay lose to Cleveland. I watched them hang around with Dallas and give a bunch of points. I know Micah Parsons is supposed to turn that team around, but there are cracks in the armor there in Green Bay too. I'm not sold on them as being an upper echelon team. Minnesota, the quarterback situation, they probably are missing Sam Darnold at this point. I think Seattle's got to be in that discussion. Absolutely.
Yeah, Turbo, what do you think? Are the Seahawks in that upper echelon top tier, or are they just below?
I would say just below as of right now. It can change as the season goes along. Guys come back healthy and they go on a run in terms of, winning 3-4 games in a row and things of that nature and really kind of show their dominance as a unit. But if I don't know, if Detroit and, I don't know, Philly and some of these teams, Tampa Bay, if they're tier 1, then I would say, the Seahawks are right there, the next team, the number 1 team in tier 2. And that's not, a bad thing, at this particular stage, with 6 games in, They got a long ways to go, man. But they could certainly put themselves, to me, in that tier 1 category by the time we get to the second half of the season.
So I'm going to follow up with you again, Turbo, with the same question I asked about Sam Darnold. What do they have to do for you to think that they are in that top tier?
String along some wins in a row. Really 3-4, wins straight against top teams. I don't know what their schedule looks like coming up over the next 3, 4 or 5 weeks, but those teams, to me, the top tier 1 teams don't finish their seasons 9-8, 10-7. That's to me, that's not a tier 1 team,
right?
And right now, I don't know if we can look at the Seahawks and say they're going to finish better than that. But if they can get to 11, 12, put themselves in a position they might finish the season 11-win team. That, to me, finally starts to separate them and put them in that upper echelon as far as the tier 1 group of teams. But for right now, it's just, they are where they are for me.
Yeah, and Corbin, I think where I agree with him a little bit is depending on how you feel about Jacksonville and if they're real or not, the Seahawks haven't really beaten a good team. So I want to see them do that.
I don't know this. I'm starting to buy Pittsburgh a little bit, especially now that they got Derek Harmon back healthy.
I buy Pittsburgh. I buy Pittsburgh for sure.
Okay.
So I think that in Pittsburgh, I think is a good win. Yeah. And listen, this is the thing I'm going to say here. I'm looking at the schedule. Houston at home on Monday night. Then you get a bye week. at Washington, which I'm going to be honest with you, that is not the team I thought we were going to see this year. They are very beatable. We watched the Bears beat them last night. I think they've got some significant issues. Then you've got the Cardinals at home. Kyler Murray is dealing with a Lisfranc injury. They're saying it's not serious, but anytime I hear Lisfranc, I think, oh, crap. Like, that could be –
The Cardinals are always trash.
And they're not good. Seattle should beat them by 20.
But the Cardinals, they're never – as long as Kyler Murray's a QB, it's a wrap. I will never give the Cardinals nothing because they
play the Rams on the road and they play the Titans on the road. Like, that's their next 5 games, guys. Like, the only game there that really, I mean, the Washington game playing at night on the East Coast, but Seattle seems to love playing on the road. Like, you know, you asked Anders, you asked Turbo, like, what the Seahawks need to do to be an upper tier team. Like, my answer is more simple than just getting a win streak. Win your damn games at Lumen Field. That to me is how you set, because you're winning games on the road. Like, they need to send a message against Houston on Monday Night Football. Arizona comes to town. You need to send a message. When Minnesota comes to town week 13, you need to put Minnesota in their place. Like, you need to be stuffing teams in front of your home fans. If they start doing that with how they've played on the road, this is a team nobody wants to play in January. And you get a chance to get a top seed in the NFC. But you got to start winning at home. And again, I am begging Mike McDonald, you need to have your guys go to the facility and take them on a bus over to Lumen Field. Like, do something to make it feel like it's a road game. Put the other team's logo at midfield. I don't give a damn. Do something that makes it feel like a road game, because they've been unbeatable on the road. Like, you got to do something to make it. It's so weird we have to have this discussion, but like, this is going longer than Mike McDonald's tenure. Like, Pete's last year here, they couldn't win at home. And they've had struggles on and off for like 5 or 6 years. Like, you got to figure that out. These fans deserve better at home. This needs to be a place teams fear going.
So they're 4-2, right, Corb?
Yes.
Anders, right? And say the next 5 games against Corb.
The next 5 games, you got the Texans, Commanders, Cardinals, Rams, Titans.
Yeah, see, like,
Let's go through it. Let's go through it really quick. We I'm gonna hold you guys there because we kind of are a little short on time. I got to make sure we get to our ad break here. Let's go through those next 5 games.
I'll take the blame. I keep sending us on.
No, it's fine. No, you just created a segment of content because I actually want to go through those next 5 games. Where do you guys feel the Seahawks will be in 5 weeks? I love that.
But see, the thing, I'll tell you what they can't do, Anders.
Okay.
They can't go 3-2.
Okay.
They can't go 3-2. And then
you and I are in full agreement. I think 4 wins or better is what they have to do there.
And be a tier 1 team. Go 3-2. Yeah. You can't be to me, you can't. You know what I mean? And then you end up what? 7-4?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's cool, but it's not like greatness.
Plus that last little bit of your schedule. Now I realize that, like, okay, well, we'll do some schedule talk here in a second. I got a break. We'll be right back. We're gonna go through the next 5 games or so. Actually, let's just go through the rest of the schedule because I think it's a great little exercise here to kind of readdress where the Seahawks are. Because I think there's a little bit of a feeling that the Seahawks could be one of these really, really good teams, but the rest of their schedule is what's going to really kind of determine that. So we'll do a quick little exercise where just easy dub or L for the next 8 games, and we'll kind of go from there. On the Seahawks Squad Show, we'll look ahead to Houston in the last segment. So if you're looking for a little preview of Monday Night Football, don't go anywhere. We'll have that with you right after the break here on the Seahawks Squad Show. We'll be right back. Guys, you probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you have even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Go Long. If you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, Rugiet Go Long is the way to go. That's exactly where it comes in. It's not just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in 1 dual-action formula. The effects can last up to 36 hours. That's confidence all day, all night, and even into the next day. It's a long time. The process is simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly right to your door. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to rugiet.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Make sure to use our code so that they know that we sent you. Welcome back to Seahawks Squad Show. Anderson Hurst, Robert Turbin, Corbin Smith with me today. It's the running back episode that I always love and enjoy talking with my RB1 and RB2. You guys can decide which one of those you guys are, but
me and my 5'5",
let's go.
I think that's probably going to be decided pretty quickly.
Well, you guys want we were talking about last segment about where the Seahawks rank in the kind of the hierarchy of the NFC, and I want to go through the rest of the schedule where you guys think we're going to land by the end of this year. I know it's kind of really getting ahead of ourselves here, but this is what we do. We're not players, we're not coaches. We can look ahead. We can look ahead and look where we're going to be. So we're just going to do a quick exercise. I'm going to tell you the game. Home or away, you give me win or loss with a quick little sentence on why you think that's going to happen. All right. So Texans Monday Night Football at home. Turbo, what do you think?
Win. It better be.
Corbin.
I think Seattle wins this game. I don't know prediction yet, but I think Seattle should win this one.
All right. Let me get your little stuff here. So you guys both have them on 5-2 at that point. Turbo 5-2. Okay. Following game.
Commanders on the road after the bye week.
Commanders on the road. Turbo.
This is when I think they lose.
Really?
Lose that one.
They haven't been. Washington has not been that good lately. I'm with Corbin. They have not impressed me like I have expected them to. But this is another thing we have to remember, guys, about this part of the season. Teams that look good in September, October are not always the teams that look good in December, January. So
I think by that time, the floor is going to be back. I think they lose.
Yeah. All right. So Turbo has 5-3. Corbin, what do you think?
I picked Seattle to lose this game before the season started.
What about now?
One of the losses I had, but I think they're going to go into DC and I think they're going to win.
Okay.
I am not sold on the Commanders. I have watched 2 or 3 of their games, and I know getting McLaurin back is going to be big, but I think Seattle will be healthy in the secondary by that point. So I think they're going to be able to handle that. Their O-line has not been as good this year. I think Seattle wins that one.
What about Cardinals at home? Turbo.
Again, I got Seattle winning that one, but those division games, they scare me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I do got Seattle winning that one.
Corbin.
I think Seattle wins that one, and I think they win by 20+.
So that's 3 straight.
I think the Cardinals are a self-destructing franchise.
Oh, you're saying the Seahawks were going to win the next 3?
I think they are. I think they're going to get on a little bit of a roll here. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if Jonathan Gannon's getting ready to get a pink slip by that point.
Woo!
Have you guys have seen the stuff that's happened recently? They're they've got real issues. Yeah. They really do.
Yeah, at quarterback. If they do that, okay, now we're talking entering that tier 1. They going ahead and win 3 straight. That's 4 straight, including Jacksonville.
The big one for me, if they're a tier 1 team, is the following game: Rams on the road. Turbo.
I think they lose the game. You know,
Corbin.
I'm going to go.
I think they split
L for love. I think Seattle loses that one. The Rams are a team that has not played well that I still think is going to be there when it's all said and done. I still think the pieces are there. I think that game ends up having quite a few points on the board, and I think the Rams get it late.
All right. Then Titans on the road. Turbo.
That better be. If they lose that game, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear nothing for the rest of the season.
Yeah. And we all know that anything can happen in the NFL. Bad teams beat good teams all the time. I am just going on Should the Seahawks win this game? In your eyes right now, should they win this game? Corbin.
That would be on par with losing to the Giants at home last year, even though it's on the road. That is a bad football team. And they're going to blame the coach. They fired the coach yesterday. But, I think you could bring Vince Lombardi back from the grave, and he ain't winning with that team. They are not good. They don't have talent. So, Seattle loses that game. That's going to be a heads are going to roll game if you don't win that one.
Right. But, you should be winning this game. That's kind of what we're going with. You can't always predict what's going to happen, obviously. But so Corbin has them at 8-3 at this point. Turbo has them at 7-4. By that point, then you have Vikings at home, Falcons on the road, Colts at home, which is harder than I think we expected it to be. Then Rams at home again, Panthers on the road, and then 49ers on the road to finish the season. So,
the schedule favors them.
It really does.
That's why I'm saying, come on.
And I still think the Colts are going to fall back to earth at some point.
I think so too.
That is still a team. The couple times I've watched them, it feels like every break that they can catch, they are catching. That can't last an entire season. I just still think at some point Daniel Jones is going to be Daniel Jones. I don't see what Sam Darnold is doing there. I see a lot of things that are kind of just dominoes, just always following Indianapolis's way. I could see him still being a playoff team. And that division, they could maybe win it, but I don't know. I still think you can't take them lightly. They're obviously 5-1. I just think that's a team that at some point the fortunes are going to change a little bit, and how they handle that is going to determine what happens for them at the end of the year.
All right. So let me ask you this. Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead, Turbo. Go, please.
Same thing what happened to Sam Darnold at the end of the year at the Minnesota Vikings last year then?
I don't think it does, because the things that were problems the end of last year, he has had opportunities for that to happen this year, and he has completely aced that. I'm just thinking of how many big throws he's made where he has gotten away from pressure, or he is like the Horton touchdown in Pittsburgh where he had a dude blast him and he still made a perfect throw. I just see a different cat right now. He's a Ghostbuster now. End of last year, you didn't see that, but I'm actually having a harder time seeing that happening with Sam now. I just think he's very comfortable in this offense, and he has got a telepathic thing going with JSN now too. It's crazy how quick that's come together.
I asked Turbo and Rob this on the post-game show, Corbin, but is JSN officially a superstar now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The dude is now in the top 15 since 1970 for receiving yards in the first 6 games of the season. Yeah, he is a dude. He's a superstar. And you watched the All-22 the other day, Jacksonville's corners, I don't know how many, there was one route that he had in the second half. He did twist Monteric Brown into a pretzel. I'm shocked that guy could run after him. He looked like he was going to break inside, and then he started cutting outside, and Brown, his legs were discombobulated. He is one of those cats, man. He is so much fun to watch.
Yeah, and as we kind of look at the rest of the schedule and are continuing our conversation with how the Seahawks rank up against the other teams in the NFC, it just feels like to me that what makes me so confident right now is A, the schedule, and I think that favors them for the rest of this year. But B, also the fact that it still doesn't feel like, and I know they've played well for most of the year so far, it still doesn't feel like the defense has really hit its stride. And it's once that happens, especially later in the year where scores drop from, over-unders of 45 to 50 to now you're going 35 to 40 at this point in terms of looking at, betting and stuff like that. I just feel like this defense is going to play incredibly well towards the end of this year. A lot of it depends on health. You got Devin Witherspoon being sort of injury prone is really worrying me. Yeah, that cannot be a thing moving forward. And I'm not blaming him or anything like that. It's just you need that guy to be the defense that you want to be. Same with Julian Love, but I have faith he's going to come back. It's great to see DeMarcus Lawrence come back too. But everyone else, man, Corbin said at the top of the show, let's talk about 9-1 for a sec, because wow. Yeah. Let's do that next segment. We'll kind of preview Houston, and then I want to talk a little bit about Byron Murphy and his resurgence here in the Seahawks defense, because I think that is one of the reasons that they are playing so well. Seahawks Squad Show. We'll be right back. I got Turbo. I got Corbin with me. Don't go anywhere. The NFL season's here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. I just mentioned looking at over-unders there. If you want to get in on the action, FanDuel is the best way to do it. I love their app. It's the best way to track your bets, over-unders, futures, prop bets, live betting, money lines, however you like to get in on the action. Just have a little extra juice while you're watching Red Zone. You can be following your fantasy team. You can also be following some bets with FanDuel. It makes watching football even more exciting. Whether you're a casual fan, love diving into the stats, or you're just making a gut call, it makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Welcome back to Seahawks Squad Show. Anderson Hurst, Robert Turbin, Corbin Smith with me. All right. First, let's talk Byron Murphy, because I think that it deserves its own conversation because of how well he's played this year in his second year in this Mike Macdonald system. And then I want to talk a little bit about the Houston game. I know it's still over almost a week away, but we could still preview it a little bit. It's one of, I don't want to say the bigger games of the season, because I think a lot of people expected them to be better than they were, but it's another home game. It's a primetime game. You need to win the games in front of you. So we'll preview Houston here in just a sec. But Corbin, I saw you rub your hands together when I talked about Byron Murphy. What excites you about this cat right now?
What doesn't excite me? Look, we are seeing a player that I made this argument all of last year. I thought Byron Murphy II had a really disruptive rookie year. It just didn't translate to sacks and quarterback hits. He had a top 10 pass rush win rate. Like, he was effective getting by blockers. He just wasn't finishing plays. That has completely changed this year. He has 4.5 sacks already in 6 games. He has 9 quarterback hits. He had 1 last year. So he is getting to the QB. He's making tackles for loss. And like Jacksonville, like, I'll give the Jaguars some credit on this. Like, they adjusted as the game went on. They started double teaming him. Here's the problem, though. It didn't work. Like, they could not keep number 91. It's weird. I haven't thought about Pokemon for a long time, but he kind of reminds me of like the evolved version of Geodude. That's like the huge circular rock. Like, that's Byron Murphy when he's trying to go through a block. Like, he is a boulder. Like, he is so hard to keep out of the backfield. And oh, by the way, he moves extremely well too. First play from scrimmage, he chases down Trevor Lawrence, who's running full speed, and runs behind and trips him up for a sack. Like, how many 300-pound dudes do that from the interiors? Playing nose tackle when he made that play. He had 2 other really nice pass rushes. He got partial sacks on. He blew up a run play in the backfield. And he set up opportunities for DeMarcus Lawrence. That twist stunt game was just filthy, and Byron Murphy was a huge part of that. We are seeing him grow into not just a really good defensive tackle. He is turning into an upper echelon caliber guy that can really take over games. And he did in that one because, like I said, Jacksonville started doubling him. They changed they're like, look, we're not going to let you beat us. And he still was beating them. And Jacksonville, oh, by the way, they had given up 6 sacks their first 5 games total. They gave up 7 in this game. They gave up 17 quarterback hits. Murphy had 4 of those, and like 3 or 4 others happened because of him. The work he did, they had absolutely no answer for him. I am fired up because this kid is just scratching the cusp of his potential. I think this kid has all-pro type talent written all over him, and you see it now with him finishing plays.
Yeah, and Turbo, that's what you expected when the Seahawks drafted him in the first round. I know it's tough to get compared to one of the greatest of all time in Aaron Donald, but that was the comp. So how do you think is it more of a Corbin? I see you kind of shaking your head. Do you disagree with that?
A lot of people made that comp. I'm not comping anybody to Aaron Donald. He's got some traits that are
style of play, less like product. Like, you can comp someone because of style and like how they will be effective is in the same way, but maybe not to the same level, if that makes sense. Right.
I comped him to John Randall.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were wondering about that. And I'm like, well, he played 25 years ago, so that's probably why you're wondering about that. But I'm seeing a lot of that right now, like that relentless motor and chasing dudes down and tripping them up and overpowering guys with his short, stocky leverage. Like, I see a lot of John Randall in his game.
Turbo, is it more just he's becoming more comfortable in the second year, or are they using him differently?
Well, I was going to ask Corbin.
Okay.
I don't really see him line up on the edge much.
He played a lot of A-gap Sunday, though. He's still playing a lot of nose. He's playing a lot of 3-tech.
Right. I think that's the difference when you talk about an Aaron Donald, even a John Randall, that this is a slight more versatility in terms of like 5 technique, and a little bit on the outside there. But
he could play there, I think.
He could. I haven't seen it a lot. Maybe you have.
They did some at practice. I don't know that we've seen a lot of it in the games, though. Like they should have done it against Tampa Bay with the lack of edge they had in that game. But beside the point.
Yeah. Well, what I will say is this is when, obviously Byron deserves a lot of credit for the work that he's put in. But this is when you really have to look at the OGs. Jaron Reed, Leonard Williams, DeMarcus, coming into the fold to the team because DeMarcus Lawrence, because that's where he's learning. That's who he's learning from now.
Yep.
So, it kind of felt like when he came in as a rookie, it was like, go be a baller, your first round pick. Yeah. And it's like, well, shoot, man, I need to learn. I need to develop. I need some people to teach me some things first, and there's only so much you can get from a coach, but when you out there playing with other dogs who have done it at the highest level, it just, it changes for you. It really does, especially if you're able to, if you buy in. And I always share, like, when I left Seattle and I played for the Colts for 3 seasons, and I got to be teammates with Frank Gore. And those were some of the best seasons of my career, both just within myself and statistically overall, because everything I just did what Frank Gore did every single day, literally everything. When he was on the field warming up, I was on the field warming up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so, like, Byron Murphy has certainly developed into a pretty good young player. He's got a long way to go. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you asked him, I guarantee he'd give a lot of credit to Jaron Reed, Leonard Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence, and those OGs really giving them game up front.
Corbin, you're there at practices very often. Is that what you see? Did you see a leadership from the kind of, I want to say, elder guys on the D line?
OGs.
By NFL standards, they are the elder standards.
Yeah.
Look, I'm getting to be an old man, so I can say that. But like Leonard Williams, he was even working with Gray Zabel. I wrote a couple articles about it during training camp. Like he wants those young guys to be sponges. Like, and Jaron Reed, like, I'll say this, I have not covered a player who has changed, and maybe Bruce Irvin's in this discussion too, but in terms of maturity and becoming a leader, I don't know there's ever been a guy who has made the jump from where he was at in the early years of his career to what he is now. Like, Jaron Reed is the rock of that locker room, and guys look up to him. He is, and look, Jaron Reed and Leonard Williams, they didn't have to show up for OTAs, but you want to know who was there every single day of OTAs? Both those dudes, because they wanted to help the young guys, and they wanted to strengthen that bond of the team. Byron Murphy II was soaking that stuff up. Some of the edge guys were working with these two as well. So yeah, that is a huge part of it. When you have but there are superstars in this league that don't want anything to do with young guys. Like, that's something that you have to know, is this is not the norm. Like, especially working with guys on the other side of the ball, defensive linemen helping out an offensive line, that doesn't happen much. But Leonard Williams and Jaron Reed both do those kind of things because they are the consummate professionals and they want their teammates to get better. So yeah, Byron Murphy and all these young guys have benefited from that. I think guys like Brandon Peely have benefited a lot being around those two guys. That's why they're getting consistent reps playing on Sundays now.
Yeah, it's just I think a lot of people can just overlook the human element in all of this. Whether it's at quarterback, they just look at the tools and how he plays, but they don't look at the leadership, which is another reason I think Sam Darnold's been such a big piece of what Seattle's doing. And whether it's a veteran teaching a younger guy how to go about his business, so it's great to see that that's kind of the vibe that I get from what Corbin's saying in the Seahawks locker room. Let's do a really quick look ahead to Houston next week. Monday Night Football at home. We'll have more extensive breakdowns of the games, the matchups later on this week on Locked On Seahawks. I know Corbin's going to be all over that. But just surface level, what are we looking at in terms of the Houston Texans, Corbin Smith?
The thing that worries me about them is they've got a couple blue chippers on defense. They've got guys that can Will Anderson can take over games. Like Charles Cross, Abe Lucas, you got to deal with that guy. You got to find a way to keep him away from Sam Darnold as much as you can. They got a couple really good corners that can turn the football over as well. Solid safety play. And DeMeco Ryans is a great coach. Really understands what he's doing. I think defensively, what they do against the Seahawks, that's what probably concerns me the most. Okay. On the flip side, this is not taking shot. I think Laken Tomlinson's had a really good career, but Laken Tomlinson being a starter in the NFL now, that offensive line is still one of the worst in the NFL. They've got some young guys in there. We just talked about how great this D-line is. This should be a game that those guys are all licking their chops ready to bash C.J. Stroud, because that's been the biggest detriment to his development to this point. Too many games where he is spending an extensive amount of time on his backside. Seahawks can do that again in this game. So you got to control the trenches on both sides here, particularly on defense, where I think you can make this a really tough game on C.J. Stroud.
Turbo, where are you looking? Monday Night Football against Houston Texans.
Yeah, I've noticed Houston is getting better offensively, man. I know the offensive line is still a struggle. The run game has been really up and down, mostly down, this season, man. But it felt like C.J. Stroud the last couple games has kind of found some, with Nico and his boys. Christian Kirk, had a nice game last week. Dalton Schultz is there, the tight end. So it's just, let's go. Seahawks got to execute, man. I don't think this is going to be some sort of rollover game, against the Houston Texans, man. To me, they're finding something. And they're inching closer to looking like the team that's won the division the last couple years. And so from that standpoint, that's probably the only thing that might worry me if I had to look at something. But it's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, for me, what I'm looking for isn't even have to do with the Texans. It has to do with the Seahawks. Win your damn home games, and especially the primetime ones where everyone's watching. Send a message to the rest of the NFL that Lumen Field should still be feared, because I think media-wise, people still look at it as that's the case. And I've been there recently. It's loud, but for whatever reason, a lot of teams come in and have success there. I hope it's just an outlier and it eventually gets turned around, but this would be a perfect time to start that if you just have.
You got to start fast, Anders. The one home game they won this year, obviously they scored 21 points in a blink of an eye against New Orleans, which New Orleans is 1-5. You expect to go out and win that game, but every other home game that they have had since week 4 last year, they've had no points on the opening drive. You got to go make plays. You got to go on both sides of the ball. They've given up way too many points on the first drive at home. I don't know what it is. They just come out flat. They got to figure something out there, because Houston is a team that's kind of had some of the same problems in games. They've kind of started slow in a number of their games. Can you put the foot in the jugular early on the road team and let the crowd really take over? They just haven't given the crowd much of a chance to do that in the last couple of years.
Yep, hopefully that's the case on Monday night. We'll be with you right after the game here on the Seahawks Squad Show. Corbin, what do you got coming up the rest of this week?
Yeah, since we got a little extra time tomorrow, it's going to be all about I guess we can say a third of the season report card, doing some free agency report card. Man, John Schneider knocked it out of the park this year. In free agency, going to be looking at all that stuff. And then matchups are coming on Friday this week. Matchup Friday. And, man, there's some fun ones we're going to be breaking down. So make sure you're listening in on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Turbo, who you got this weekend in the Mountain West? I am so curious.
Who do I have? Oh, I'll be in Colorado Springs, Air Force at home against Wyoming.
There you go.
Be a good one.
There you go.
Air Force is in a shootout last week in Vegas. I did the UNLV game at home, as you guys know. It's a great game. Came down to the end, back and forth. Offenses were lighting it up. UNLV pulled that one off. Air Force got a really good offense, but defensively, they're like the Cowboys. They're just, just wide open. Just wide.
Come on, Turbo. It's not that bad.
It's that bad. It's that bad. And then
I don't know if either one of you watched South Park, but like I've met Jerry Jones in the press box. Like South Park had to make Mr. Garrison's character like in part after him. Like they sound like clones of each other. Like you can do anything you want in my stadium. Like,
By the way, I like Jones. Okay, he's a good dude.
He's one of the few guys that lets reporters still go down to the field before games. Like I have nothing against him. I don't like the football decisions, but I don't cover the Cowboys, so I don't have to worry about it. So
yeah, we can just sit from afar.
I can say whatever I want.
Yeah, sit from afar, have some fun with it. Turbo, where do we catch your games when you're calling them? CBS Sports Network?
CBS Sports Network. The game is 1:30 Mountain Time on Saturday, so 12:30 local.
Yep.
So an early one. So it'll be good. Wyoming, Wyoming's a good team, tough defense, a big comeback win against San Jose State, down 21 in the fourth quarter. They came back and won that game last week. So it'll be entertaining. They're always these two teams. It's always a defensive battle, but we'll see how it irons out.
All right. Make sure to check them out. All the Robert Turbin fans out there, they'll be coming after you just to watch the broadcast, I'm sure. That'll be it for us. Seahawks Squad Show. Like I said, we'll be with you guys right after the game Monday night versus the Houston Texans. Hopefully that's a nice primetime dub for your Seattle Seahawks. But check out Corbin's work both on Emerald City Spectrum and on Locked On Seahawks throughout the rest of this week. He'll preview he's got everything you need in terms of previewing matchups, what you should be looking for, looking at film, all that stuff. Check it out. Highly recommend it. It's sometimes how I like to get prepared for my shows that I'm doing. I just look at Corbin's breakdowns because, man, he does such a good job. Really highly recommend it. And, of course, Turbo on the call on CBS Sports Network. I never miss those games. They're awesome. We'll talk to you guys a little bit later. Have a nice rest of your week. Go Hawks on Monday Night Football, and go Mariners.